Hello and welcome to another episode of the Losers Wins Again Fantasy Football Channel. I am your host, Jacob Brown, and we're here to talk about NFL Week 2 Draftkings Top 5 Stacks. Man, this week is getting very interesting, tons of value, and we just want to go over it all right here, right now. But before we do, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you like content just like this. But yeah, man, top 5 stacks for week 2. Let's get after it. Before we get into the video, let's just go over quickly the importance of stacking. Stacking is a strategy where you roster a QB and one or more of his pass catchers. The hope is that from a strong offensive team, that it will help each other put up big numbers. Look for high point total games, roster players from opposing teams, aka run back options, and 3v1 stacks equal a quarterback, 2 pass catchers, a wide receiver, tight end, running back, and 1 player from the opposing team, preferably another pass catcher. That is mainly what I do in my lineups. I'm not saying that's the only way to go, but it's the way I go, and I've been pretty profitable over the years because of it. But yeah, let's go ahead and get on to the video. Number 5. At number 5, we got the Arizona Cardinals. They're a return team from the list from last week. They were at number 1 last week, and now they're all the way down at number 5. Some key things we need to discuss before breaking down where we're stacking who is Rondale Moore is still listed as questionable. If he returns, this shakes up this, and it might even move it up from like number 5 to number 3. If we can get Rondale Moore back by Friday or Saturday, I will update the top 5 stacks to let you know what I'm thinking. It will be updated in the final thoughts video. But anyway, let's get into the guts of it here. Kyler Murray, of course, you're going to have him in your stacks. But I'm not afraid to roster James Conner. He was involved in the passing game. He's actually gone down $100. And I think this game environment is going to be way better than what people are predicting it to be. Marquise Brown, another week with Kyler Murray at quarterback. His price did not change. He did about what he was supposed to do last week projection-wise, and I think it'll be the same scenario here. I think this is going to be more of a back-and-forth game than a lot of people think. Marquise Brown should totally be on your radar for stacking options, and typically, I want to either start with Kyler Murray and James Conner or Kyler Murray and Marquise Brown, and then roster these other guys paired with them. So James Conner and Zach Ertz, awesome. James Conner, AJ Green, awesome. James Conner, Greg Dortch, great. Same thing with Marquise Brown. I'd roster Marquise Brown with Ertz, Green, or Dortch. So those are the ones I have interest in the run back options, the key ones. Davante Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller. Those are the main core 4 for run back options. The only thing I will say is if you're playing a Kyler Murray James Conner stack, you probably don't want to roster Josh Jacobs. And if you're playing a Kyler Murray Zach Ertz type stack, you probably don't want to run it back with Darren Waller because we don't play double tight ends here. But yeah, those are my interest in stacking for the Arizona Cardinals. And then speaking of run back options for the Arizona Cardinals, we're going to talk about the Las Vegas Raiders right here and who we're interested in for week 2. Of course, when you're going to stack the Raiders, you're going to have Derek Carr. Davante Adams is probably a mainstay. I really doubt that I'm going to get to a lineup without him in it, but it's still early in the week. We haven't built all of these stacks completely just yet, so stay tuned for the Saturday Final Thoughts video where I will be discussing my exposures in these stacks. But yeah, Davante Adams is a clear-cut great play. You can't go without him. I mean, he should be rostered in all formats. So Davante Adams, awesome play. Josh Jacobs, he is really sticking out as a top value for running backs. I don't mind rostering him with Derek Carr. So if you wanted to do like a Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, Davante Adams, perfect. Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller, perfect. Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, Hunter Renfrow, perfect. I probably wouldn't roster him with Matt Collins, though. The only person I think I would roster with Matt Collins is Davante Adams. Main reason why Matt Collins is on this list is just due to the value at that price point. One of the best 3K plays on the slate. But yeah, Darren Waller, obvious, great play. Hunter Renfrow, a pretty good play in his own right at that value. So yeah, I have interest in all these players. Stay tuned for the Final Thoughts video that goes out Saturday, where we'll be going over all these exposures. Let's go ahead and move on to number 3. Number 3, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Tom Brady's looking awesome this week against the New Orleans Saints. Little hesitant about rostering him just due to the last few times the Saints and Bucs have played, but I find it hard to get away from. We got Tom Brady at $6,400. That's pretty damn cheap. Great projection, great value. Easy as for me. Leonard Fournette, don't mind rostering Tom Brady with Leonard Fournette and pairing with Mike Evans, Julio Jones, or Russell Gage. Mike Evans, I believe, is going to be a mainstay for this lineup construction. I think you're going to have to start with Tom Brady and Mike Evans in almost every stack you do. Notice that I don't have any tight ends on here. Cameron Brate is not valued very well as of right now, but like I said, by Saturday that could change. As of right now, I have no interest in Cameron Brate. Julio Jones looks like he's going to be a great value, and so does Russell Gage. No Chris Godwin. He's ruled out with a hamstring injury. So Russell Gage opens up as a value. Julio Jones opens up more as a value. So there's definitely some great opportunities here for stacking purposes. But yeah, once we get to Saturday's Final Thoughts video, we'll have a better idea of how we want to roster the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in stacks. At number 2, we got the Denver Broncos. And at the top, of course, you got Russell Wilson at $7,200 and a pretty good game environment against the Houston Texans. I don't mind pairing him with this running back, Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams led the league in targets for running backs with 11 or 12, I believe. And obviously, he's probably not going to get 11 or 12 targets again this week. But even if he got like half of that at this price point, that's pretty good. And at that value, it's hard to just steer away from him. So all I got to say is Javonte Williams is a great stacking combination with Russell Wilson. One thing I will say about Russell Wilson, though, his value is a little bit down, which is understandable. He had a pretty poor game against the Seattle Seahawks last week. I definitely want to get some of Russell Wilson, though. I think people are going to be down on him just due to that very same fact that he did not look very well against Seattle. So hopefully, when we get ownership coming in, he'll be one of those low-owned plays. Cortland Sutton is also someone I'm very interested in. We saw a pretty decent split between Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. Both of them are priced similarly. Both of them are decent values. Jerry Jeudy looks to be the best value, but I don't mind Cortland Sutton either. Definitely going to play Sutton and Jeudy together and have different variations of Javonte Williams, Sutton, Javonte Williams, Jerry Jeudy, Javonte Williams, Albert. Okay, I can't say that guy's name. If anyone can go down in the comments and like abbreviate where I should pronunciate his name, that would be very helpful. But I just call him Albert OK because he's okay for this slate. He's great for this slate. One of the top value tight ends for week 2. Definitely going to roster him a ton. So that's my number 2 stack for week 2. And number 1, the top stack for week 2 is the Los Angeles Rams. Look, guys, there's just so much great value on this slate. Darrell Henderson at $5,700 at 3.07 value. Awesome. Cooper Kupp is doing Cooper Kupp things. We saw him play amazing week 1. Definitely not going to steer away from him. He's one of the best options on the slate in that top tier stud range in wide receivers. Matthew Stafford is $6,300. I think it's just way too cheap, and the value says so as well with this projection. Yeah, he had a bad week 1. That's very, understanding. But I hope he goes low owned. I think he will. He's playing a lot lesser of a challenge against the Atlanta Falcons, but Stafford looks great for this competition. Allen Robinson also had a bad week. Hopefully he can bounce back. He's looking great in the projections. I think he is. I'm not worried about him whatsoever. And Tyler Higbee was one of the top leaders in targets for tight ends. He might have been the leader, if I'm not mistaken. At $4,200, he's another great value at tight end, one of the top 5 values at tight end. We're definitely going to want to get him involved in our Rams stacks. I got a couple players that aren't on this list that I'm still thinking about, and Ben Grozerneck and Tutu Atwell. Those are guys that I'm still thinking about, but by our final thoughts video for Saturday, we should have a better idea if we want to pair them with the Ram stacks that we're rostering. But as of right now, these core 5 are my main interest in stacks. Run back options, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Cordell Patterson are the only 3 I have interest in. Well, there you have it for the Losers Wins Against Fantasy Football channel. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this content, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell if you want to see more content just like this. My Patreon provides these sheets we've discussed today and much more for a $5 a month fee. Drop down in the comments to ask me about it. Subscribe to my social media outlets for updates until the slate locks. And as for us here at the Losers Win Again Fantasy Football channel, I'm your host, Jacob Brown. Thank you for watching, and there will be another one coming shortly. We'll see you next time.